our eyes are so sensitive that even though you're wearing the sunglasses, we're still getting exposure through our skin, through the sides, from, the sides of our eyes where the sunglasses aren't fully protecting. Your eyes know what time of day it is. It's not that you're going to interfere with your sleep-wake schedule if you're wearing sunglasses. But on the flip side, if you don't wear the sunglasses, there are so many negative aspects to your eyes that can develop.
Welcome back to another episode of the Peak Performance Life podcast. Today, I am very excited to be speaking about a very important topic that we have not yet covered on this episode, and that is eye health, vision health. We have Dr. Rani Banik, MD, who has 13 years of training at some of the finest medical and eye institutes in the country. She graduated with a BA with honors and MD from Brown University. She trained in internal medicine at Mount Sinai Medical Center in Miami, followed by ophthalmology at the University of California, Irvine. She went on to pursue neuro-ophthalmology at the Wilmer Eye Institute at Johns Hopkins. She is the founder of Envision Health NYC, and she has a book called Beyond Carrots: Best Foods for Eye Health A to Z. She also has a course called Ageless Eyes and a lot of other resources. She's helped many people who have had all different types of issues from eye health and nutrition regarding eye health, as well as headaches and many other conditions as well. So thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Banik.
Thank you so much for having me, Talor. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, this is such an important topic. And you actually, in the biohacking, health hacker community, you don't hear enough people talking about this. So I'm really excited to have you share your knowledge here. Let's start with a little bit about what interested you and how did you get involved in this line of work and kind of progress to the work that you're doing today?
Yeah, so when I was about to go into medical school, I was kind of exploring different areas of medicine I could pursue, and I was fascinated by the eyes. They're such small organs, about the size of a golf ball, but they're so important to our daily lives. And without our vision, we really would have a very different world that we existed in. So vision is so critical. And to be able to help someone with their vision, restore their vision, improve their vision, it really is something I wanted to be able to offer my patients. And the other great thing about eye health is that anyone can have an eye problem. In my practice, sometimes I see babies, newborns even, with eye issues, all the way up to people who are 80, 90, 100 years old with vision problems. So I can help people in the entire spectrum of age and all types of different backgrounds. So it was very rewarding to be able to go into this field.
Amazing, amazing. And what type of issues in your practice? I'm sure you've seen so many different issues. What are the most common eye issues that you're seeing? And maybe now, like as time goes by, what are you seeing more and more of? Obviously, with everyone being on screens all day, maybe. I'm just kind of curious, what are the biggest things that people should be aware of and looking out for?
Yeah, so there are certain things that happen as we all get older, usually into our 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. And some of those things have kind of been accelerated over the past few years and decades. So, for example, a lot of people have dry eye. That's probably the most common condition I see. And again, it can affect anyone, children to adults. And it does really have to do with the amount of time we spend on our screens. Definitely screen time can exacerbate dry eye. But then there are other things that I see often as well. For example, being a neuro-ophthalmologist, I deal with a lot of headaches and migraines. So I've seen a huge rise in people with headaches, light sensitivity, triggering migraines, aura with migraine. And then, of course, there are the age-related changes also that happen that have risen, and they're actually escalating in their own, at their own rate. So, for example, macular degeneration, cataracts, glaucoma. So I deal with the whole spectrum of eye issues, but I have seen, with our modern lives being on screens, the average adult spends over 10 hours a day on a screen. It's kind of crazy to think that, but it's just how we live our lives. I've seen a lot of vision problems related to that.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen, it's strange because neither myself or my wife ever needed glasses or anything like that, but both of our daughters, unfortunately, probably from being, and we try to keep them busy, occupied off the screen time. I'd like to think that they're a little bit less than most kids, but they both have glasses for certain things. So certainly can.
The numbers for myopia, which is nearsightedness, they are skyrocketing, and it's estimated that 50% of the world's population will be myopic by the year 2050, which is really mind-boggling to think that so many of us are going to end up needing glasses for distance. And it's really, really not a good thing. And for kids, like you mentioned, like they're on screens also, but there's so many things people can do to help to limit that amount of myopia. There was an interesting study actually that came out of Asia that looked at kids and screen time, and to try to counteract that, they had the kids go outside and spend 2 hours a day playing in the sun or just outdoors instead of being indoors doing near activities, and that found that lowered the risk of myopia progression. So simple things like that, like incorporating some outdoor time, especially for kids, young kids, can make a really big difference. And there's some schools now, I know that there's some schools in the Netherlands where they mandate that kids have 2 hours a day of recess where they're actually outdoors during the school day.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I completely agree with that. And I oftentimes when I see them like for an hour or 2 hours staring at the screen, I'm like, hey, stop for a second. I'm like, look out the window at the farthest mountain that you can see out there. Just try to get them to change this. Because I mean, years ago, right, we weren't built to stare at screens in front of our faces. We had a long range of vision, and it just doesn't seem. And unfortunately, now even in schools, in my daughter's schools, they're having them work off iPads, which now over the last couple of years, which really sucks. I wanted them to keep using pen and paper and get some more time away from the screens, but unfortunately, it's going the other direction, and I'm not sure there's much that many of us can do about it other than do these other things. Are there any good practices? Is that a good practice? Like every 15 minutes you look far?
You hit it right on the mark. So there is this, I guess you could call it an exercise we can do when we're on screens all day. Is called the 20-20 rule, or you can also call it the 20-20-20 rule. And you may have heard of this before, but a lot of eye doctors recommend it. So basically every 20 minutes, if you're on the screen, for hours a day, every 20 minutes, set your timer, take a 20-second break, and either close your eyes for 20 seconds or, like you said, look out the window, look at something like really far in the distance to relax your eyes from that constant strain of like looking at a screen at, 14, 16 inches away. And also, I love what you said earlier about thinking about how our species has been evolving over the years. Our ancestors, like hunter-gatherer ancestors, most of their world was looking at the distance, like, trying to stay away from dangers and being aware of predators, et cetera, things like that. And so our world has moved from looking far in the distance to closer and closer and closer. And most of our time we're spending like right here on our phones now. So that's like really close. And so that constant having to focus up close, it's a medical term called accommodation. So our eyes constantly have to accommodate, and they're not meant to do that 24/7, or not, I shouldn't say 24/7, but 10 plus hours a day. Our eyes are just not meant to do that. So a lot of people are struggling.
Yeah. I've certainly seen it. And I feel blessed to be maybe the last generation to grow up without technology, essentially, although I've had it obviously, for many years recently. But I can feel the difference. Like if I'm looking at my phone and staring, you actually feel closed-minded. You have like tunnel vision when you're looking at this little thing in this short range versus I think they've done some studies where like you literally just go out into an open field and, with an open sky and kind of look up at the sky, look far away, and you literally are more open to learning new things, more open to, it's just a really good exercise. So I think me personally, I hate being on my phone. I'm still on it sometimes, but I literally can feel it. I don't feel good. I feel like tunnel vision. I feel closed off. I don't feel like my mind is working at its best.
Yeah, I think what you're touching on is the mind-eye connection. When we're just like so telescopically just focused in on something, we're not really observing everything around us. And so we really need to take in stimuli from everything else, whether it's, being out in the sunshine, feeling the warmth of the sun, or hearing, the breeze, all of those other senses need to be stimulated. And when we're on our devices, we're just really using one sense primarily, and it's just not healthy. It's really not.
Right. Well, let's get into maybe some of the things that people can do to prevent. We talked about some of them just now, but what are our community loves supplements? We love any kind of exercises. I saw on your website you had some free downloads there as well with different exercises and things that people can do. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about some of the nutrition and exercises.
Sure. So I'll preface this by saying a lot of people think that they can counteract their screen time by getting blue blocking glasses. And that's
Mm.
kind of been what's been marketed. Wear your blue blockers or get a blue blocking tint on your glasses and it'll protect your eyes. What I'll tell you the truth is, and I have some blue blockers to show you, most people get blue blockers that look like this, where the tint is pretty clear, or it's like a very light, I don't know if you can see it here, it's a really light yellow tint. So
Mhm.
these glasses only block a small percentage of the blue light, only about 10 to 30% of the blue light. And the way you know that is if you put them on and you're looking at your screen, you can still see the color blue. So you know it's not fully blocking the blue light. Now, in reality, there is no study to show that these blue blockers actually help with eye strain. None.
Mm.
Not a single study proves that they actually work. So take it with a grain of salt. If you feel better wearing blue blockers, absolutely, by all means, wear your blue blockers. If you think it helps you with your sleep, by all means, do that. But when it comes to your eyes, this type of tint is really not the best. If you really want to fully protect your eyes against blue light, yes, you can get blue blocking glasses that look like this, which is a
Mhm.
deep tint. This happens to be a deep red, or you can get a deep orange or deep yellow. And when I put these on, I know I look a little bit, it's not the most aesthetic looking glasses, but I don't see
Looks
any
cool.
blue on my screen. And it
Yeah.
does, when I'm working late at night and when I'm on my screen, it does help. It helps me, it helps my eyes feel relaxed, helps me sleep better. But I'll tell you this is the real truth when it comes to screen time and your eyes and protecting your eyes. The best way you can protect your eyes against screen time and blue light is through nutrition. And
Mm.
I want to get this message out there to the world. I'm sharing it with not just, my audience, my patients, et cetera, but also my colleagues, because a lot of my colleagues who are ophthalmologists, optometrists, they don't necessarily know this, but it's really such a foundation of our vision is nutrition. So we
Mm.
have pigments in the back of the eyes that we absorb through our food. And these pigments help block blue light. So we have internal blue blocking pigments that protect against blue light. They basically neutralize blue light. These pigments, our bodies can't make them ourselves. So we need to get them from diet or from supplements. And the pigments, you may have heard of their names. They're called lutein,
Mhm.
zeaxanthin, and mesozeaxanthin. So I call them like the eye vitamins. They're not officially vitamins, but I call them like eye vitamins. And so eat enough foods that have these nutrients, and you will promote your eye's natural blue blocking abilities. And not only that, these pigments can also help filter out UV light and neutralize UV light. So you're getting both benefits by eating these types of foods. So what are the foods that are richest in these nutrients? Well, the number one source would be leafy greens, whether it's spinach, kale, collard greens, arugula, basically any kind of leafy green. But let's say you don't like leafy greens, you don't like the taste, or maybe you can't eat them because they have oxalates. There are many other foods also that can give you these pigments. For example, anything that's bright orange or yellow in color is that color because of these pigments. So for
Mm.
example, bell peppers, yellow bell peppers, orange bell peppers, corn, preferably non-GMO corn. Also some fruits like peaches, nectarines, they're high in these pigments because they have that beautiful color. And also this is a really important one, egg yolk. A lot of
Mm.
people, when they eat eggs, they throw away the yolk, they just eat the whites, but the egg yolk is where the magic happens. That has so many nutrients, especially lutein and zeaxanthin. That beautiful orange yellow color is from these pigments. So eat lots of foods that have the pigments, and you'll internally protect your eyes. And then, sorry, I
Yeah,
don't know if
no,
you.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I eat organic pasture raised eggs every single day, a lot of them, and I take our Peak Performance organic green superfood powder. So glad to hear that those are both. And again, that makes a lot of sense. I haven't heard anyone explain that, but it makes a lot of sense, right? Carrots are the orange, and you have the yellow and orange things that work really well. One other question, just backing up real quick to the blue light blocking glasses.
Mhm.
Certainly agree with you. You can go on Amazon and you'll see, there are factories from China selling cheap,
Mhm.
ineffective blue light blocking glasses for probably $10, $20. Those aren't the ones that you want. There are other companies that sell them for $150. Sometimes I have a hard time telling what's what. So I would like to get your recommendation if you have a specific brand that you like. But also, I will say another thing I heard, though, was that it may not be like I've seen. For example, I think my daughter's eye doctor, they said, oh, yeah, we can give you glasses that have, 50 something percent blue light built in, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, I had heard that it's not good to have blue light blocking glasses on in the mornings, for example. or even during the day. I guess if you're inside with artificial light all day, that might be a different story. But I think from what I heard, it's really mostly meant for nighttime. And I do have kind of a more of an expensive pair myself. I just bought another pair for my wife that was almost too dark to you could barely see. I think the ones I have are pretty good because they're a red tint and they seem to work well. Certainly they help me at night if I'm watching TV or happen to be on my laptop at night or something like that. But yeah, anything about any advice on timing as well as a recommended brand?
Yeah, so I'll first explain that the highest emitter of blue light is not from indoor lighting, it's actually our sun. The sun emits the highest amount of blue light that our bodies get exposed to, and we need that blue light. We need that blue light to set our circadian rhythm for a sleep-wake cycle. We also need that blue light to help regulate our mood. We know that many people suffer from seasonal affective disorder in the winter months when they're not getting enough sun exposure and blue light. So yes, blue light can be beneficial. It's when we're exposed to too much blue light after the sun has set, when it tends to cause more of an issue, more eye strain, more trouble sleeping, insomnia, waking up at night too early, things like that. And so that's the blue light we should be protecting against. So when patients tell me, I wear my blue blockers all day long, I actually tell them, maybe you want to give your eyes exposure to some natural light. Don't wear your blue blockers all day long and really focus on wearing them later in the day, particularly after the sun has set. So, and you're absolutely right. There are so many manufacturers of these blue blocking glasses. There are also some blue blocking glasses where it's not a tint. It's basically like a mirror coating on the surface of the lens. So the blue light's just like bouncing off. So again, we don't really know how effective those are. Studies have not shown any benefit from those, those types of blue blocking glasses. I know most opticians will probably try to sell you blue blockers. If you're getting new glasses, they'll probably say, oh, should we add some blue light filtering properties to this lens? I don't know. To me, it's not worth it. If you're going to do it like you were saying, get a high quality pair of blue blockers that are deep in color, again, red or amber or orange. The company that I like is True Dark, and you may have probably heard of it. And that's what both of these types of blue blockers come from. It comes from True Dark, and they have different ones. So these are called daylights, and these are called twilights. So if your eyes feel sensitive during the day, yeah, by all means, put on your blue blockers and see how you feel. If you feel like, there's a relaxation, yes, you can wear them, but I don't recommend wearing them all day long. That's really not what they're supposed to be for.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, these days I'm very sensitive to it when I don't have my blue light blockers. I can certainly feel it like, no, it's too bright in here, and especially at night. So one other question real quick on that note, sunglasses. Any opinion on, so I personally don't wear them. I don't like them, but my wife does. Many other people do. Any thoughts on sunglasses?
Yes. So if I had to choose, one of the top things you should do to keep your vision healthy, aside from nutrition, is wearing sunglasses.
Really?
And yes. And so, I've been working in ophthalmology for like over 25 years now. So I've seen it all. I've seen what can happen when people get too much UV exposure. So there are, from the most superficial thing, like your eyes can get red, they can get quote unquote, sunburned. You can develop growths on the surface of the eye. You can develop cataracts and macular degeneration, and even cancers like melanoma in the eye can happen from too much sun exposure. So I am, super, super proactive about this. I actually wear my sunglasses. Make sure that if you do get sunglasses, that they have a sticker that says 100% UVA, UVB blocking, because there are manufacturers of sunglasses that may not have the appropriate filter in them, but that will protect your eyes against a lot of these eye issues that can happen as we get older, particularly like, again, growths on the surface of the eye, macular degeneration, cataracts. So I do wear my sunglasses when I'm outdoors. And I know some people say, well, aren't you supposed to get natural sun exposure? What I'll say is our eyes are so sensitive that even though you're wearing the sunglasses, we're still getting exposure through our skin, through the sides, from, the sides of our eyes where the sunglasses aren't fully protecting. Your eyes know what time of day it is. It's not that you're going to interfere with your sleep-wake schedule if you're wearing sunglasses, but on the flip side, if you don't wear the sunglasses, there are so many negative aspects to your eyes that can develop. I do think it's worthwhile. And Even kids, I tell my patients who have kids, like, try to get your kids to wear their sunglasses, too, especially on like bright sunny days, or if you're out on the water, like if you're at the beach or on a boat, there's a lot of glare, and those are especially the times when you need to wear them.
That makes a lot of sense. That definitely makes a lot of sense. Any recommended brands of sunglasses, or is just any one that has UV blocking okay?
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter, like whether you're getting like a $10 pair of sunglasses or a $300 pair of sunglasses. You have to look for the sticker that says, it'll say one of two things. It'll either say 100% UV AUVB blocking, or it may say UV 400, which basically means that it's blocking out any wavelengths that are shorter than 400 nanometers. Either one is fine, but you have to have that sticker that you're looking for to make sure that they're really protecting you.
Very interesting. And one more
I'll add
question.
one more thing to that.
Yes.
One more comment. So a lot of people think the darker, the better. So, get really, really dark sunglasses, and that's going to protect your eyes. The tint actually doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter whether you're getting a black tint or gray tint or pink tint or blue tint. As long as there's a sticker there, you know that your eyes are going to be protected.
This is fascinating. I've never heard that before. I heard the opposite. Oh, you want to get natural light. And I am curious too, because it is kind of part of my morning routine to go outside as the sun is rising, right? And my thought process is that it's not really the UVs really at 7:30 in the morning, right? As much as it is more around noon or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay? Because I do go out almost every morning. And getting that
So
natural light when it's
I
rising.
would say it's okay. But,
Yeah.
like you were saying, like when the sun's getting to its peak in the sky, when it's at its zenith, like you
Hmm.
really want to protect your eyes then. There's one other thing I want to mention about going out in the sun. I know some people practice a regimen called sun gazing, where they
Hmm.
go out in the early morning hours and they look directly at the sun. That is a no-no,
Mm.
because even though I know there are a lot of health influencers out there who are advocating for this, they're not eye doctors, and they haven't seen the side effects that can happen from direct sun gazing. So that sun, even in the early morning hours, can really be powerful. And it can actually, I've seen patients where they've done sun gazing and they've developed burns in their retina. So
Wow.
something called solar retinopathy. So they get these tiny little burns in their retina. So it ends up that they're missing, like they have patchy vision because there's permanent burns in their retina from sun gazing. So I would just be really careful. If you want to expose your eyes to early morning light, the best thing to do is, if you turn towards the sun, close your eyes and then look towards the sun. That's the best thing to do, because at least when you're
Mm.
closing your eyes, the sun rays still get through, but they're not going to directly potentially damage your retina or your lens. And it's a safer way to do it if you want to do it. So,
Thank you for
but
that piece
yes,
of
you're right.
advice.
There are health benefits of it. That we need our vitamin D. We need that sun exposure. So do it in a safe way if you're going to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Because we've had a lot of guests on this podcast talking about that early morning sunlight and setting your circadian rhythm, and it helps you sleep at night and all these other kind of benefits. But I think it's great advice, because sometimes I don't stare at the sun, but I'll face the sun. But I think knowing now, hey, just sometimes I do close my eyes, and now I'm going to close my eyes a lot more when I'm in front of the sun. So I think that's
Yeah.
great advice.
Yeah. I mean, the people I've seen who've developed the complications of like burns in their retina, they were looking at the sun for like 20 minutes, even up to 2 hours. And that's
Wow.
really not a good idea. Like if you're
Yeah.
looking at it for, 30 seconds, I think that's fine. But if it's going to be longer than that, then definitely close your eyes when you're doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, very good advice. Okay, good. You might have just saved my eyes there over the next
I hope
40,
so.
50 years. Thank you. So we got one success story already from this podcast. That's great. One more quick question along these lines. Any thoughts about red light panels? I've heard of many people now in the biohacking community that instead, maybe they're in a city or an apartment building, there's not much sun. They get these red light panels. They do that first thing in the morning. And for the first time recently, I heard a pretty big well-known influencer biohacker guy say that, yeah, I have a red light, tanning bed even, or something, a really expensive one. And I open my eyes wide open and get that red light right in my eyes. And I was like, whoa, I don't know about that, but curious, any thoughts on red light?
Yeah, so I am a huge fan of red light and infrared light.
Hmm.
But it needs to be done safely.
Yeah.
So there's some really cutting edge research that's being done using red light at 670 nanometers and infrared light between 870 to 880 nanometers. So red light we can see, but the infrared light obviously we can't see because it's too long for our eyes to pick up. But these two wavelengths, or this range of wavelengths, may actually help with the regenerative capabilities of our retina. So our retina is constantly turning over its cell membrane. And so again, some early studies are showing that exposure to red and infrared light in those wavelengths may help to improve certain conditions that are degenerative. So for example, macular degeneration is one area that's being researched, and also glaucoma. So the studies are still early, and there is no device that's FDA approved for eye therapy yet in the US, and maybe there will be in the next few years, I'm not sure. But if you have a red light panel, or if you have like a red light bulb, red and infrared, and you want to try this, I definitely tell my patients, do it in a safe way. So number one, you want to be at least 12 inches away. So you don't want to have your face right up against it, 2 or 3 inches. You want to be at least about 12 inches away. And you can do it, but again, with your eyes closed. Okay, this is really the key. Do it with your eyes closed. And the early research has shown, this is really interesting. The early research has shown that as little as 3 minutes a day, 3 times a week can have benefits. Wow. And some people, even with like macular degeneration, their vision improved by 1 or 2 lines after doing red light therapy 3 times a week. So it's not that you even have to do it every day. You may do it every day for other reasons, skin reasons or joint benefits, et cetera. But if you want to do it for your eyes, that's all you need, 3 minutes, 3 times a week.
And with your eyes closed, it still heals
with your
eye.
eyes closed, those wavelengths can penetrate through the eyelid. So yes, with your eyes closed.
Amazing. Wow. Any recommended brand there that you like?
I don't have a brand that I've found yet that really hits those exact wavelengths. So I've been looking for one, but I haven't found something exact yet.
Great. Okay. Anything else with regards to nutrition or exercises that people should be doing?
I think maybe we can talk a little bit about supplementation.
Yes.
Because I know there's a lot of companies that make supplements that they say are eye health supplements. So what should you look for? Like if you want to take something for your eyes, what type of supplement should you look for? What ingredients should it have? So number one, it should have the macular carotenoids. So you want to make sure it has all 3 macular carotenoids: lutein, zeaxanthin, mesozeaxanthin. Preferably, you want to look for something that also has astaxanthin, which is an up-and-coming carotenoid. A lot of people are learning about astaxanthin for their skin benefits, for immune benefits, other benefits, cardiac benefits, for example, muscle benefits, but it can also benefit the eye. There are some really early studies to show its benefits for macular degeneration and ocular blood flow and maybe cataracts. So look for something that has astaxanthin. And also, this is really important, look for an eye supplement that has bioflavonoids. Now, bioflavonoids are plant-based compounds. They protect plants from disease, from getting infections and fighting against oxidative stress. So when we take in bioflavonoids, either through diet or through supplements, they can protect our bodies and our eyes also. So there's a couple of them that are really important for eye health, including quercetin, resveratrol, and some of the citrus bioflavonoids. So these are some of the up-and-coming, nutrients that you're going to hear about when it comes to the supplement space. So that's typically what I recommend, is to take something if you want to get that full protection. So I do have a product called Fortify, which is a curated eye supplement. I looked at everything on the market and I wasn't really happy with what's out there. So I decided to formulate one that I thought had what it needed in it. So it has all 3 macular carotenoids. It has astaxanthin. It has some berry extracts. It has something called tocotrienol, which is a more potent form of vitamin E. And these are all research nutrients that have been shown to help with eye health. So do your research, look at the ingredients, look at the labels, and then choose what you think may provide you with the best protection.
Great advice. And where can people find that? Shout out your website or where they can find your Fortify supplement.
Yeah, so it's on my website. So it's drranibanik.com. And I also have a store on my website. You can see the link to my store, and you can purchase it from there. And also in my book Beyond Carrots, Best Foods for Eye Health, I have a whole chapter on eye supplements, and I really go into depth about the science behind them. Like, what does the science show? What dosage do we, what doses do we need? How do we choose? So if you wanted to learn more about, these particular nutrients and how you can find the right supplement for you, you can take a look at that chapter as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, as we get older, I know there's a lot of extreme cases, there's lots of different cases that you've seen, but what would you say is the number one most common, 20% of people will have this issue with their eyes by the time they're 85, or what is the biggest one?
The biggest one is cataract by far. And what I tell people is, if you live long enough, you will develop a cataract. It's a simple process. It's an aging process that happens inside the eye. And if you want, I can pull out my eye model. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll pull it out here. So this is the eye, and it's actually, really complex. Even though it's so small, it's really complex. And most of us, when we think about the eye, we just think about the very front part of the eye, the white part and the cornea, and the colored part, which is the iris. But if you take a look inside, there is so much going on here in terms of the anatomy of the inside of the eye. So I'll just show you, for example, this is the cornea. This is the front part. It's a dome-shaped structure. It's clear. When people have dry eye, the cornea gets really dry. Behind that is the iris, which is the colored part of the eye. But this is the lens inside the eye. And it's a spherical structure, and the lens is normally clear. You see it's transparent here. So when we're young, it's clear. As we get older, it suffers from free radical damage, from oxidative stress, and it begins to opacify. So when it becomes a little bit opaque, like it becomes yellow, in the worst case scenario, it can become really dark yellow or brown or even black. That's what we call a cataract. Okay, so imagine this, instead of being clear, imagine this is dark or yellowish, and you put it right here. So I just lost my lens. Anyway, when the light comes in through the eye, it has to get through that opacity, and it's almost like looking through a dirty window, right? Yeah. You're trying to look through the window, but it's got, all kinds of soot on it or grime, and it's just not clear. No matter what you do, you can rub your eyes, you can wear glasses, it's not clear. That's what a cataract is. And so how can you prevent that type of damage from happening? Well, number one is your nutrition. Have lots of foods that provide antioxidants. So lots of different veggies, fruits, maybe take a supplement that has a lot of those antioxidants like vitamins A, C, and E. Glutathione is another great antioxidant for lens protection, but also wear UV protection. So this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before with sunglasses, or if you don't want to wear sunglasses, wear a hat, like a wide brimmed hat, like a baseball cap, or, big sun hat to protect your eyes from the UV rays. And those are the two best ways to prevent against cataracts. But, if you live long enough, yes, you will get a cataract. Like almost everyone who's in their late 60s, early 70s will have some degree of cataract. It's just, again, it's kind of like getting wrinkles. If you live long enough, you're going to get wrinkles, or getting gray hairs. If you live long enough, you're going to get gray hairs. It's going to happen. But also, just because you have a cataract doesn't necessarily mean you have to do anything about it. Like a lot of people think, oh, my doctor said I have a cataract, so I have to have surgery. That's not the case. Just because you have it doesn't mean you immediately need to have cataract surgery. It's only if the cataract is impairing your vision to a certain level and you can't do things you like to do. Like if you have a cataract and you can no longer read or drive or see faces, then you need to do something about it. But it's simply just having a cataract doesn't necessarily mean you need to have it taken out.
Yeah. And is it pretty simple surgery? I mean, cataract surgery, I kind of feel like I've heard a lot of people have had it done. Seems to be a very high success rate. I know you got to wear these big dark glasses for a little while after, right? But other than that, it's not.
It's actually the number one elective surgical procedure in the world. It's so common. Millions of people get cataract surgery every year. And in the vast majority of cases, like 99.9% of cases, it's highly successful. So I know it's kind of a little scary to think, oh, it's an eye surgery, but it's really commonly done. I do it all the time. It's a relatively quick, simple procedure that can restore someone's vision. And so I know people are reluctant, like, oh, I don't really know, I'm really nervous about it. But the ability to see after that and to be able to see colors vividly again and be able to see faces clearly again, it really can make a big impact on your daily life and the quality of your vision. So if you have cataracts and your doctor said maybe it's time to get them taken out, I would really encourage you to explore that and really find out what that means for you, because I think it's worth it. Both of my parents have had cataract surgery, and, I told them to wait initially because they weren't quite ready. So after some time, they were ready, and I had one of my colleagues do their surgery. I would have been too nervous to operate on them myself, but they're doing great now, and they see very well, both for distance and reading. So it's a highly successful procedure.
Great. Any other exercises, things that we haven't covered that we should be aware of when it comes to eye health?
Yeah, actually, there's a couple of exercises that I have on my website that you can download for free, and they basically help to relax your eyes. A simple thing you can do is something called palming. PALMING. So let's say your eyes are really tired from being on a screen all day, you're really fatigued. So basically you just rub your hands together, generate some heat, and then cup your palms, and then basically put them over your eye sockets, and you're eliminating any light stimulus from getting in your eyes, and it's so relaxing. So you can do this periodically through the day. You can do something called eye yoga also, which is basically instead of just staring at one point on the screen all day, you're doing eye yoga where you're moving your eyes as though you're looking at different clock hours on a clock, and that will help to stretch out those muscles, relax those muscles, and give you a little bit of a reset for your vision. So there's a bunch of different exercises you can do. I just want to add a caveat there. A lot of people think, oh, if I do exercises, my glasses number will get lower. I can get rid of my glasses. These exercises are not meant to do that. There's actually no exercise I've found. I've been looking and looking and looking. I've tried the Bates, protocol, et cetera. I have not found any exercises to reliably decrease your power for your glasses or contacts, but these exercises can definitely help you relax and reset and feel a lot more comfortable with your eyes if they're not feeling comfortable on a screen. Very interesting.
I hadn't heard of that. Any opinion on LASIK eye surgery, which I know is getting huge right now? Is it cool? Is it all good? Any issues?
Yeah, so LASIK has been so successful. It's transformed the lives of millions of people, maybe hundreds of millions of people around the world. So a couple of things I'll just tell you. So about LASIK, it's very safe. It can be transformative for your life, so you're no longer dependent on glasses or contacts. So yes, it can really work, but your eye has to be healthy enough to have it. So make sure your eye doctor, they do certain tests ahead of time to make sure that your eye is healthy enough to have LASIK. But just be aware that it's a procedure, and as with any kind of procedure, there can be risks. And even though the risk may be really small, maybe like 1 in 5,000 people will have a complication from LASIK or any other type of refractive surgery. If you're that 1 in 5,000 person who has the complication, that's 100% to you. So as long as you understand the risk and you're willing to take the risk, by all means, talk to your eye doctor and consider getting it done. I always share this story or this kind of perspective. A lot of people will ask me like, oh, so have you had LASIK done? And I say, no, I'm myopic and I wear contacts. I've worn contacts most of my life. And so they'll ask like, why wouldn't you get LASIK done? And I explain it this way. If you go to any ophthalmology conference, and let's say there are 30,000 ophthalmologists there in one place, from around the world, and you look around, the majority of eye doctors are going to be wearing glasses or contacts. So you have to ask yourself, why is it that the doctors who do the surgery don't get it done on themselves? And it's a very simple answer. The answer is because we've seen the complications. We know what can happen. And for us, it's not worth that 1 in 5,000 risk that, to put our eyes through that risk. But the majority of the population, it may be worth it to them to get that surgery done. So just take it with a grain of salt. Look, weigh your options, weigh the pluses and the minuses, and then make a decision about whether something like LASIK or other types of refractive surgery may be appropriate for you. I don't want to scare anyone, but I always tell people, think about that perspective. Like the majority of eye doctors have not had it done on themselves, and there's a reason why.
Yeah, That's very solid evidence right there. That's something that I would definitely be looking at. So that's great advice. Really great advice. Dr. Rani Banik, this has been amazing. This has been very eye-opening. We've packed so much information into such a short period of time. I don't even know what else to ask you. So I think I'm going to ask you to tell people where they can follow you and learn more and maybe buy your supplements, buy your books.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Laura. I really had so much fun in our conversation today, and sharing all this is really my passion, as hopefully you can tell. So my website's the best way to gain resources, to gain little tidbits about things you can do to promote your eye health. So again, it's drranibanik.com. So my supplements are there, my book is there, and also I have some free guides so you can download that. And also, if you're on social media, I do post a lot on Instagram. That's my main social media channel. So my handle is Dr.Rani Banik, and you can find a lot about eye health and migraine. Sorry, we didn't get to talk much about migraine today, but I do post a lot about migraine and headaches, tips for that. And then also I have a YouTube channel, RudraniBanikMD.com, which is my full name. So feel free to connect. And I look forward to sharing a lot more with everyone.
Amazing. Yeah, I highly recommend people go to Dr. Rani, R-A-N-I, Banik, BANIK.com, and then your Dr.Rani Banik on social. So check her out. She's obviously a wealth of knowledge. You can see how passionate she is, how authentic she is. And it's just been an absolute pleasure to interview you and have you share your knowledge with our community. So thank you so much. And I hope we can do it again soon.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, can you please leave us a rating or review and subscribe? I've realized that while we have actually increased our downloads a lot, we're actually getting a lot of downloads, which I'm really happy about. We actually have very few ratings. And I realized that I've never asked people really to rate much. So I'm asking you now if you could please rate and review and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the episode, please forward it along to anyone that you think will get value out of this. Also, if you haven't checked out our line of products at buypeakperformance.com, you get 20% off your first order. That's www.buypeakperformance.com. We have some incredible products, including our organic high-altitude coffee. If you don't know this, coffee is one of the most heavily sprayed with pesticides out of any crop. So it's really important that you drink organic coffee. We've gone above and beyond to source what we believe is the highest quality and healthiest organic coffee in the world. We're also famous for our organic green superfood powder. You can get 20% off of that as well at buypeakperformance.com. We also have an organic vegan and paleo plant protein. See, most of the vegan proteins out there are using brown rice protein, which is really not a good source of protein, and it's also a grain. And if you're paleo, you know that grains tend to cause inflammation in some cases for some people. And so we wanted to make one that was paleo friendly and vegan and organic. We made an amazing amino acid profile, so it's really one of the best plant proteins for muscle building. So you can check out Peak Performance Organic Plant Protein. You can find that on our website. Of course, all our products are on Amazon as well. So thanks again. And again, please, if you enjoyed the episode, please forward it along to someone who you feel can get value out of it. And please leave us a rating, review, and subscribe. Thank you.